Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing something very exciting. We are catching up on my NetGalley. Again, I went a little too excitedly through NetGalley because in my head I'm not going to get accepted for like everything I want. So I requested so many things. And I got accepted for a lot of them. And I was like looking at my list and I was like, oh, that's a lot of things. So that being said, we're going to read my July arcs because I think it'll be really exciting to read July arcs before July, obviously. And it's super quick. I only have 3 for July, and I just kind of want to go through them to see if are they worth it for everyone to buy or to read, etc. So we are going to be reading 3 very fun books that I'm super excited about. Some of them are like really exciting releases. One I haven't heard about before, which is kind of exciting because I love finding new authors. So very excited about that. I'm trying to pull up my NetGalley. If you don't know what NetGalley is, it is a site where you can request. I have forgotten how to use technology completely. I am just like scrolling through things, not knowing what I'm doing. But like I was saying, if you don't know what NetGalley is, it is a site where you can go on and basically request arcs. And they are e-arcs, they're not physical arcs, but you can go request e-arcs that you want to read and basically in exchange for a review. So obviously I go for authors that I know already, they have a book coming out, unless I want to wait, because there are a few books that I kind of like want to wait for like when the physical book comes out to read it. But basically I just pick books that I know the authors, and then I'll go through and see like, do I really like the cover? Do I like the name? And then I'll kind of click, especially the young adult ones, because I do read more young adult than other books. So I've been very happy that I got accepted by a bunch of them, but it created an issue. But luckily I only had 3 for July, but when we do this for August, I have quite a few for August. For August, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 books for August that I'll need to read. But some of them are pretty short, and some of them I'm very excited about. I ended up getting Dark Corners, the next book after the Night Swim, so I'm very excited about that one. And then I also got Looking Glass Hound. So I have quite a few for August that I'm really excited about, but we are talking about July. So for July, I did get 3, like I said. The first one that I got will be coming out on July 11th and is Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I'm a big Darcy Coates fan. I like cozy horror. I think it's really fun. This one does sound like more of a thriller. It's like an isolated cabin setting kind of thing going on. So I think that one sounds really fun. And then coming out on July 25th, we have 2. The other 2 are coming out on July 25th. They're Vicious Games, which I have not heard of before. I've not heard of this author by Joelle Wellington, and it sounds so good. It seems like it's kind of an underdog story where we have someone who's not really part of this elite school, and she has to join this competition to get back stuff that she's lost. And it sounds really good. Competition apparently is deadly, and it's, yeah, this one sounds really good and right up my alley, so I definitely wanted to try this one, even though I hadn't heard of the author. Because it also makes me a little nervous reading something on NetGalley that I haven't read the author, because I try not to DNF on here because it kind of hurts your rating. Although the rating system is different. The rating system on NetGalley is how likely are you to tell other people to read it. So I have DNF'd a book on here, and I just gave it a 1 star and said, I DNF'd it. I would not recommend this to other people because I didn't enjoy it. So that's kind of how you can get away with DNFs, but I still don't like doing that. So I try to be kind of picky about what I get. So I want to read an author I know I like already on NetGalley, but this one just sounded really good. And I was excited because I got approved. And then we have the book that I was most excited for in July. It is Jessica Goodman's new young adult mystery, and it is The Legacies. Another privileged kind of thing, underdog story where we're trying to win a competition and join this like elite society. So I got 2 very similar books. I'm very curious how they're going to like compare, how different they're going to be. So very excited about that. Those are the 3 books that we are going to be reading. I am so excited. So let's actually get into the vlog clips. Okay, like I said, we are starting with The Legacies, which is coming out on July 25th. And I'm just like not loving it as much as her other book that I read, The Counselors. And I think it's just because of the group of people that we're following. Like in The Counselors, we also followed semi-rich people, but there was at least someone who was more like relatable. But in this one, I guess we are also following someone relatable. But we're following two people who are super rich and very out of touch with life, and it's just, I don't know. In this one, it's just not as fun. I am very interested in the mystery, so that is keeping me going, and I like the drama that's going on. There's a lot of secrets and society things going on, so I'm like, I'm just kind of on the fence about it. But are following a couple different main characters: Tori, oh, I don't remember one of them, Isabel, and Bernie. And Bernie's kind of our main character, and where our main mystery is, her mom goes missing right before this big legacy thing. So they've all been invited to be part of this legacy club, and they're all in it for life. But someone also wins a cash prize after a week, and then there's a big ball at the end of the week. So Bernie's mom has gone missing. She's the perfectionist, everything. She's dating a guy that her parents want her to date, etc. So we have her. Then we have Isabel, who's kind of the screw up. She's Bernie's best friend, but she's just not, like, she's wealthy, but her attitude isn't like part of this world the way that Bernie is. And then we have Tori, who's not in this world at all. She goes to the school that they all go to on scholarship. That's how she like is able to go there. Otherwise, her parents wouldn't be able to pay for it. Her dad owns a restaurant, and her mother died a couple years ago. So it's all three very different characters. And so it's interesting that way. But there's something about the storyline I'm just not connecting with. And I do think it's because they're such like bratty characters. And it's just, there's just something I'm not connecting with. So I'm going to continue reading it. I am at page like 70 something. Obviously, because these are e-arcs, like I can't read physical copies, so I'm reading on my computer. So I think I'm at page 84, and it's fine. It's fine so far. I'm kind of excited to just like finish with this one, which is really sad, and I'm only on page 84, and move on to one of the other ones. But I'm still having a good time, and I am really curious about what's happening because it's all very, very mysterious. So I'm going to continue reading this one and let you know pretty much at the end, probably. I feel like I'm not going to have that much to say about this one because it seems like a cut and dry what's happening at the end kind of thing. Why is the mom missing? And and there's a murder. I forgot. There's actually a murder. They're showing every once in a while like a little tidbit of after the ball, and there's a dead body apparently. So we're gonna see who has been killed or if someone actually was killed because they haven't shown a body. So we'll see about that. And we'll continue reading. And yeah, that's that's the whole update. Okay, so I have a very quick update. I have finished the Legacies. I'm giving it a 2.5. I'm actually really disappointed in this. The characters were just so not fun to read about. I feel like there's like messy characters that are fun to read about, and like super privileged characters that are fun to read about, and then there's super privileged messy characters that are super not fun to read about. And this unfortunately fell into the not fun to read about. I was impressed with like who died. This was definitely a book where they told you someone died and you don't know until like the last chapter who actually died, and you're trying to kind of figure out as you go on. So I did like that aspect. But in general, every single character in this book sucked. Like, they just really sucked. And it was not fun reading about them or reading from their perspectives. You just generally throughout the book were just like, what are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? And it was just wildly disappointing. So I don't I don't think this one's worth the time. I think Jessica Goodman's other book, The Counselors, if you haven't read a Jessica Goodman, I think The Counselors is way more fun than this one. It's just kind of like a campy, literally takes place at a summer camp. It still has the privilege thing going on, but it's not as painful to read as this one was. I think that The Counselors is way more fun. I think I gave that one a 4-star. That's kind of what I was expecting from this one, but this one just didn't work that way. So yeah, I think I'm settling on a 2.5, and I would say skip and read a different Jessica Goodman. Now, moving on to the next book, I have already started and gotten a little past the halfway mark in the next book, and I decided to pick up Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I was really excited to kind of do something a little different. I love Darcy Coates. Darcy Coates has had some books that are She has a very interesting writing style. She tends to write cozy horror, but sometimes her books can be very frightening. Like, I read one of her haunting books, which tend to be more on the cozy side. It's just kind of like a fun ghost haunting, and it's a little creepy, but it's nothing too much. But I read From Below, and that book messed me up. That was one of the scariest books I've ever read. I feel like a lot of people might think that one's really slow, but it's like being trapped underwater, and it's like underwater zombies, which is like my worst nightmare apparently. So some of her books can be really frightening. So I am reading Dead of Winter. This one comes out on, I believe, July 11th. And I'm having a time. I'm having a great time reading this one, actually. This is a super quick book. We're following our main character, Krista, but it's Christa, I think. So it's just, it's weird. It's weird. I'm sorry if your name is that. I'm so sorry. It's mostly the spelling that's throwing me off because I knew plenty of people growing up with like Krista, so my brain just like cannot comprehend the CH part of the name for some reason. So I keep wanting to call her Christine, but that's not her name. So we're following Krista, and she is, it kind of jumps you right into the action. She is on a vacation with her boyfriend, but her and her boyfriend got lost in the woods at the beginning of it during a snowstorm, and he kind of goes missing, and she is left with the rest of the people on this vacation, and they're stuck in this cabin in the middle of a blizzard, and people start getting picked off one by one, and it is gruesome. It is way more gruesome than I'm used to in a Darcy Coates. I think this one follows much more onto the From Below side of her writing compared to like her haunting books. Her haunting books, like I said, much more cozy. This is definitely more on the slightly gruesome horror side. So I still think some people might find this a little cozy, but I don't know how because it has me a little stressed. I do think it's starting to get a bit repetitive because it's one of those situations where they're trying to survive through the day and then like someone dies at night and then it just repeats and then there's like drama in the group, and I think it's just getting a little repetitive, and I kind of wish more drama was kind of thrown in there, but it's very, I'm having a good time though. I'm gonna say it's probably a little one-dimensional as a book. The characters aren't really any different than the other characters. Like all the characters kind of blend together a little bit, and I think there could have been more writing and more work done on the characters, but at the same time, I'm having a great time reading it. It is so much fun, so I'm definitely probably going to finish that tonight. This will be like a super one day. If I was at home and not at my parents' on vacation, this would be a one-day read, like super fast one-day read. So this is just kind of like a fun one to pick up, and so far I'm really enjoying it, but I'll let you know at the end. I do think it's quite predictable. I feel like I know exactly what's going to happen at the end, but even if that does happen, it's still a really fun book, and I'm curious how she's going to do the ending. So I'm going to continue reading, finish that one up, start the next one, and update you kind of where I'm at. Okay, I'm back. It is the next morning, if you couldn't tell by the light coming from the window behind me. It's so weird filming not in my own house. It's very, very odd because I have to like hide myself away because I feel super weird about talking to a camera in front of other people. So I'm upstairs I'm actually about to go shower, and then we're gonna go out to some bookstores in the area, my mom and I, so it's gonna be really fun. But I wanted to quickly jump in here because I have finished Dead of Winter. My opinion has definitely changed a bit since I first updated when I was talking about it. I'm giving it a 3-star. So the obviousness of the twist pretty much just stayed for the rest of the book, and it definitely started to make it less enjoyable because I was kind of just getting to the point where I was like, okay, I know this person did it, so just tell me that they did it so that I can move on. And then maybe there's another twist. But there really wasn't. It was really just that main twist with that person who's the murderer, and it was really painfully obvious. And I definitely would call this a thriller, because again, Darcy Coates writes normally like cozy horror, and I haven't really read a thriller by her yet, so I'm curious if I'm gonna like her other thrillers, because I do have a thriller at my house, but it's definitely gruesome like horror is, but the plot line is definitely more thrillery. So for a thriller, I just needed something much less obvious. It was painfully obvious. And sometimes I think that's okay, but in this case it actually didn't work super well because it was just like there was like no other suspect. Like she tried to convince you that there were other suspects, but I was never once convinced that it was somebody other than who it actually was. Which is unfortunate. Like that's something that I definitely wish had not been the case. But I would still pick it up like in the winter. I would definitely suggest it to people who like Darcy Coates. If you like Darcy Coates, I still think you're gonna have a fun time like I did reading, especially the beginning. It's very fast-paced, very, very, very quick book. And I think it would be a super fun horror/thriller to pick up in the winter time around Christmas if you want something darker to read around Christmas or around New Year's, or if you're in an isolated cabin. I think this could be a really fun one to just read super quickly if you're looking for something quick. So, I mean, I still think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one. I just definitely don't think it's Darcy Coates' best work. I definitely think some things could have been worked on, some plot things changed a bit, and it could have been a little more sneaky with what she was trying to do. So that's kind of my little update. I think I'm starting their Vicious Games next. I've only read like one page, but I know it has to do with competition, and that's pretty much it. So after I read some of that, I'll let you guys know what I think about it and kind of more what it's about. But I'm kind of like rolling through these arcs. I do have a lot to get through before I post this, so I am trying to get through them. But it's going fine. I would say not super successful yet. Didn't really like the Legacies. The Darcy Coates is okay, so I'm hoping for better things in this one. This is going to be a young adult thriller mystery, so similar to the Legacies, which has me a little concerned, and it does have to do with like an elite private school. So now I'm like, should I read this one? But we're here. We're going to be reading this one, and yeah, I will update you when I get through probably 50% of that one. I'm a little over halfway through their Vicious Games. I'm sorry if you hear stuff in the background. One of the showers in the house is running. And you can hear it down here, which is interesting. But I am a little over halfway finished with their Vicious Games, and this is like nothing like I expected. So the blurb literally says this is, what did it say? Ace of Spades, which I have not read, so I can't say exactly on that front. Squid Games and The Bachelor meet. And I was like, what? Like, this definitely can't be it, right? And I can say with honesty that it is like a weird mix of the Selection series, Squid Games, and Hunger Games. And I am just like, what is happening right now? But we're following our main character, Adina, and she is a Black student at a predominantly very wealthy white school, high school, and she just finished, graduated, and she was supposed to go to Yale next year, but all of her applications, everything was rescinded, and pretty much her life has taken a nosedive due to an event that has occurred. And so she is trying to find a way to kind of get her life back, and she decides that she wants to enter this like competition called The Finish. Don't love the name of the competition. I think they could have found something else that was a little more interesting, but the competition is called The Finish, and it's a bunch of women, normally wealthy women, are invited to it, and it's just graduated from high school, about to go off to college, and it's normally like very well connected people. And The Finish is run by the wealthiest family in the area, the Remingtons, and it's just like a competition, and whoever wins, it seems like their life is turned into this magical fairy tale thing, and they're given everything that they could have ever wanted in their entire life. And so obviously Adina is like, I need to get an invite and I need to win so that I can go back to Yale, I can get my life back on track and forget like this awful thing that ever happened. So it's basically her getting into The Finish and the competition that happens and the absolute absurdness going on. And it's just like, you can't take this book, like the social commentary is good, but everything else, like the competition, you cannot take too seriously, because some of the stuff that happens is just like, is wild. It is absolutely wild. But I am having like the best time reading it. It is wildly entertaining. So when I was looking at my clips, I didn't realize that the last one just like cuts out. I think my camera like died or my battery died or something. I don't know. I didn't notice until I was like putting clips together. I'm really glad I didn't wait because normally I just film everything and then I'll put clips together and look at everything. So I'm really glad I looked at it before because I did a lot of the clips at home. I'm back home now, but I did a lot of them at my parents' house. So I'm back home now. But yeah, I was like, oh my gosh. So I'm really glad I looked at that, at the quality of them, because yeah, that one just like cuts out as I'm talking about their vicious games. But yeah, what I was going to say at the end of that clip, because I remember what I was talking about, their vicious games definitely feels like the kind of like drama of the selection where you just like you can't look away. It's kind of like I said, it said it was The Bachelor. It's like the drama you can't look away from, and it's just like crazy. It's like it's crazy. I guess I didn't know where I was going with that. I feel like that was everything I was gonna say. So I have finished their vicious games and I'm giving it a 4-star. I had such a fun time with that. I do think there was a bit of a problem with the romance, but at the same time the ending kind of fixed it. So I'm trying not to give spoilers because I definitely recommend people read this one. This one's really, really good. And it's definitely the winner of this vlog. Like, this is one that I would be like, yes, read it. This is so good. It's just fun. It's fun. Again, social commentary is really good, but anything else about the book, don't take it too seriously. And it started feeling like Ready or Not. I didn't put that together until a little bit over halfway. It definitely feels like Ready or Not, which I love. It was ridiculous, especially the ending. The ending felt so Ready or Not. It was so great. The ending was like sad and also, oh, not sad, but it was hilarious in that like dark comedy kind of way where you're just like sitting there like, oh my God. Like if you've seen Ready or Not, you kind of understand what I mean about like dark comedy. The plot isn't the same as Ready or Not. It's just like there's this like dark comedic thing about it. If you don't watch a lot of horror movies, you probably think I'm crazy right now, but it had one of those like crazy dark horror comedy movies at the end that I was just like obsessed with. I love the way it ended. So yeah, that was a wild ride. I really enjoyed that one. I highly recommend that one to anyone who likes mystery, thriller, young adult books. It definitely was just a really, really fun read. And it had some really good social commentary about basically what happens to people who have too much power and don't have like any type of semblance of what the real world is like. And they just live in this like bubble of power and money. And this is what happens. And it is crazy. So yeah, loved it. Had a really, really good time with that. That was definitely the winner. So very quickly, recap the books. We had, what did I read first? The Legacies. The Legacies was first by Jessica Goodman. 2.5 stars. It was just fine. Their Vicious Games was what I wanted the Legacies to be. Their Vicious Games just like took it that extra step that was just so good. And the characters were actually like likable. Like I liked the main character. She did make some questionable decisions. I will say that. Some of the decisions to me did not feel like her character. Like it felt like the author just wanted to add this like little tidbit of drama, and that wasn't necessary. That was probably one of my biggest issues with it, is that I feel like there was just like 2 scenes that weren't necessary and kind of took away from our characters' personality. It just didn't feel like her. Like I know you're gonna say, well, characters, they can be bad if they want. They don't have to be good, but it's like this character that's kind of, I don't know. There was a way that she could have showed Morley Gray without it feeling so out of character. And there's just 2 scenes that just were like in left field, and it was like, this could have been done a little bit differently. But yeah, like I was saying, I gotta back off on their vicious games. Their Vicious Games is what I wanted the Legacies to be, and the Legacies fell short, and it was just it was just an ant book. I would pass on that one. And then we read Dead of Winter by Darcy Coates. I only gave it a 3. But I still had a super fun time reading it. I don't think it's the best book ever. It's a very obvious twist at the end, so if you don't like obvious twists, don't read it. Everyone will get this twist. There's no ways anyone doesn't get this twist. But if you just want something fun, I would actually save this one. I'm surprised this one is coming out in July. I would save this for November, December, January. I think this would be so much more fun to read in the winter months, especially if you're going on vacation to like a cabin or something. This would be so much fun to read like in those months in a cabin. That sounds like so much fun. So I actually would say read this one. I think this is a fun read. Just don't expect the most brilliant thriller horror book you've ever read. And then there are Vicious Games. Like I said, highly recommend this to everyone. I think this is just so much fun. I think a lot of people are not going to like this one just because it does get over the top, but if you just take it with a grain of salt, just like let yourself have fun with this book, you're going to like it, I think. It's just a fun one. So that is the reading vlog. I had a lot of fun with this. This did not take me a long time. I feel like I whizzed through these books so fast. I'm pretty sure this only took a week. Yeah, I read all these in basically the week that I was at my parents' for vacation, which is awesome. So that's done. Very exciting. Another one bites the dust, and we're going to move on to August books, which is really cool. So let me give you a sneak peek of what I have in store for the August vlog. So if you got to the end, you get to see what I'm reading in August. So in August, or actually, sorry, what I'm reading in July going into August, because obviously these are August books, so I've got to read these before August. So we are going to be reading Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. It's a very highly anticipated release because Hyde was so bad that everyone was really excited to read Mr. Magic. So I will be reading Mr. Magic, Dark Corners by Megan Golden, which is the second book in the Night Swim series. Looking Glass Sound by Catriona Ward. That is also very highly anticipated. Katie Coulson just did a video on it, I think, and I don't know if she liked it. I haven't watched it because I don't want to watch it until I read it myself, but it seemed like she didn't like it. Last Girls Standing. I have already started this. Not a fan of this one so far. So we're going to see about that one. And we have Holly Horror, which is just like a young adult horror book that seems very interesting. And then we have Together We Rot by Skyla Arndt. So those are the books that I'm going to be reading for the August arcs, which will be coming out probably at the end of July, depending how quickly I get through them. But I'm excited. I'm enjoying this arc thing that I'm doing. It's fun reading these books beforehand because it also saves me money. So I'm not buying them because I would have bought the Legacies. And now I have no intention of buying the Legacies. So very excited. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I tried to make it pretty quick and snappy and just a quick fun time, little updates. And I had a great time. So I hope you guys did too. Make sure to subscribe for more arc videos and more general vlogs, etc. And make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment down below if you are excited about reading any of the July books or any of the August books that I mentioned. So yeah, that's everything I got for you today. And I'll see you guys in the next one.